welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of an anonymous Patreon subscriber, I am playing whatever I want, and I'm choosing to play Sultai Beans. It feels like the last month or two on the channel has been a non-stop parade of brew challenges or suspicious weird decks or tough runs that were highly unsuccessful. Just a lot of stuff that's off the beaten path, I will say. And I want to cleanse my palate with just a deck that I love and I know is good. Sultai Beans is, of course, the deck I played at Eternal Weekend. It was very good then. It became the #1 deck for several months, according to MTG Goldfish. And then things have shaken up recently. Riskaminator unseated it. And it actually took quite a bit of digging to find a Sultai Beans recent 5.0. It seems that people have started adding colors to the Beanstalk decks. Triumph of St. Catherine available on Magic Online mixes that up. I know the Mox Challenge was recently won by a 4-color Beans deck. People are trying stuff, and that's cool. But I want to get back to Sultai. Every time I'm playing one of my brews on this channel and queue into Sultai, I'm like, oh my god, this deck is so good. They just have everything. And that's still how I feel. This list is, like I said, pulled from a recent 5.0. I have not worked on the deck myself recently to have strong opinions about what cards should be there. Some of the changes from my list: this basic swamp in the main was a Bayou, and I had basic swamp in the sideboard. So they've basically unlocked a sideboard slot at the cost of a green source in the deck, while maintaining the same overall basic count. The main deck spread of cards: 1 Spell Pierce, 1 Stifle, 1 Thoughtseize, 2 Daze, 2 Push. These are all the numbers I played at Eternal Weekend. One change from my list that I also changed from the 5.0 list is the 5.0 list had a Veil of Summer in the main in this Nile Spellbomb spot, and they had 2 Nile Spellbombs in the sideboard. You'll see I flipped that. There's 2 Veils in the board, 1 Nile Spellbomb. There are just matchups where Veil of Summer does not do anything. It doesn't even pitch to Force of Will. It doesn't cantrip. There's just spots where this card sucks. And Nile Spellbomb is also good against Riskaminator and certain Storm strategies, and kind of all the same spots that Veil of Summer would be good, or at least the same decks, not the exact same spots. Like Veil of Summer doesn't stop a Reanimate, but Nile Spellbomb doesn't stop a Thoughtseize. But they're good against the same kind of overall archetypes. But when this card's a blank, I can cycle it, which is the difference between Nile Spellbomb and Veil of Summer. So I gave the nod to Nile Spellbomb in the main. Card that I've talked about but have not actually played yet: Force of Despair. 1 BB instant. Destroy all creatures entered to the battlefield this turn. If it's not your turn, you can pitch a black card rather than pay the spell's mana cost. This is for decks like Goblins that just have 1 big turn and then you can mop up if you survive that. I have not found that I needed this card. Playing against Goblins, you can pick them apart fair and square. I don't know that I've lost to Goblins with Sultai Beans ever. But having more for a popular deck in the metagame, hard to complain about it. And a card that I have not played nor considered ever, but I am going to try it because it's in the list, is Golgari Charm. All creatures get -1, destroy target enchantment, regenerate each creature you control. There are a bunch of enchantments in the format: Up the Beanstalk, Leyline Binding, Blood Moon, all that kind of stuff. Regenerating each creature you control, I guess in a mirror match, if they murderous cut your Murktide Regent and you regenerate it, it's a huge blowout. I'm suspicious of this one. I kind of just want another Veil of Summer, but I'm going to rock with it. I like trying new stuff. And that's the deck. Let's get into it. This is Sultai Beans. Win your spot in the World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas. Club GG is providing 100 exclusive packages between April 1st and June 30th for those who want to test their skills against the best. Each package includes the $10,000 main event entry fee plus $2,000 for travel. Use code BOSH for a free 7-day premium membership that includes entry to these satellite tournaments. I'm on the play in round number 1. I'm going to keep my hand. It has interaction for both spells and creatures, and it has Wasteland that I can recur. I need a threat, I need a draw engine, but this is good enough. Just play my Misty and pass. A Swamp. A Grief. Disappointing. Oh, can't Spell Pierce that. They pitched a Reanimate, which must mean they either have more of those or that's not the plan. And Spell Pierce is gone. Murktide Regent in the grip. Show me that Entomb. Okay, they didn't Entomb me. That's good news. They are reanimating. I can kill Grief no matter what they take here. Took the Fatal Push. Now I have to decide if I want to kill Grief. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 1 mana short of casting Murktide Regent. I could just try to race with Murktide, or I could cut this Grief. I think I'm going to cut the Grief. Or I'm going to get blown out by Opposition Agent. Jesus. Alright, we don't have to keep playing this. That was annoying. Okay, so they're like a mono-black scam deck. They're not Rescaminator. Veil of Summers, Nile Spellbomb's coming in. Dismember comes in. Surgical. I probably don't want Deed or Charm. Cards that are worse include... Force of Negation seems pretty mid. Most of what they're going to be doing is creatures, and Grief can strip Force of Negation before I ever get to use it. It's awkward to shave Force of Wills in a matchup where they might do some nonsense very quickly. But I'm also bringing in a bunch of 1-for-1 or even 2-for-1 answers to the stuff their deck does. Do I just go 0 counterspells? Hey, that's too many gone. I could get a Force of Will back in now. It's possible Bowmaster's not very good here. Stifle can interact with Grief. Spell Pierce might be worse than Force. Okay, I'm going to cut a Spell Pierce, get a Force back in, and try it like this. I'll keep this hand. I hate that I am incentivized to fetch face up. I'm not going to play that game. Basic Swamp, Dark Ritual, Dothy Voidwalker. If they have a second Ritual and then an Oppo Agent, I'm off it. Okay. Voidwalker resolves. I'm fetching before it resolves, so I can have a card in my graveyard. Alright, I'm going to Fatal Push the Voidwalker. They're going to take my Beanstalk, and then I'm going to be sitting on a bunch of nothing for a minute. Need some action. Luring Revealed. Might someday be action. I am going to fetch now, before they can Oppo me. Force of Will. Force blue card is what I've drawn since they looked at my hand. They won't know about that stuff. Orcish Bowmaster. I can kill this with the Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Wasteland deck confirmed. Reanimating Bowmaster. Okay. I don't think that's where I fight this, even though it is annoying. I didn't bring in my Pernicious Deeds, unfortunately. Let's get a land into play before they can play a third land. Right, I gotta draw a Murktide Regent. That's what I want here. My own Bowmaster is also pretty good. Sheoldred's Edict is mid, but does play. I'm gonna Edict in their upkeep. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. They do have a bunch of flashcards in their deck with Oppos and Bowmasters and stuff. Just, there was not any really great time to do that. Luckily, they just didn't have those, though. Okay, they've got 4 mana now. I expect a hardcast Grief right now. Oh, that's so much worse. I could Mystic Sanctuary my Sheoldred's Edict back, or I could just force this. Yeah, this is a disappointing play because my plan was to cycle Luring Revealed for land number 5, then fetch Mystic Sanctuary, get the Luring Revealed, reload, and then just stabilize it at 6 life. Okay, Sheoldred's Edict versus Force of Will on this thing. They're close to empty. I'm just going to force. And I could pick up Fatal Push just to take the damage off the board. Okay, what's the difference between 4 and 5? I'm going to give myself a chance to draw a good card. Okay, we got away with it. Now I could lose 2 life to kill the Orc Army. I'm just going to do that. I think keeping the Mystic Sanctuary available is worth it compared to not losing 2 life there. Orcish Bowmasters, chill! I wonder if I held the Dismember, if I could have saved some damage here, because they probably would have done that pre-combat to make the 3/3, and then I would have killed the 3/3, and then they would have nothing here instead of something. Yeah, there was no reason to main phase the Dismember. Alright, I'm at 2. Gotta figure it out from here. In a Murktide or a Bowmaster does get me mostly stable. Alright, Bowmaster doesn't work anymore. Come on, Murktide, Regent. Nile Spellbomb that no longer cantrips, you piece of crap. Yeah, 3-color decks. They get you sometime. And I got a 1. Stalactite Stalker. Okay, now I don't think I can win. Ponder, show me the goods. Okay, never mind. This is exactly the sequence that is really... Oh no, I don't have black mana! Fudge-os! Alright, well, that was what I needed, but shuffle this. And draw the Beanstalk anyway. Alright. Okay, so the 2 Wastelands were exactly right. Going after black was exactly right. Bowmaster did actually stabilize that board, except for the fact that it doesn't, because I can't cast it. Nile Spellbomb couldn't cantrip. Yeah, they kept me just off balance enough to win that one. And that's how Mono Black Scam works. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I am on the play in round 2 against Easy Money Marksman, who has recently put out a Rescaminator guide on their Twitter. Good free resource if you're interested in that. Go find them. And I'm going to put Nile Spellbomb into play and hope this is a good card. Playing out the Spellbomb versus leaving up Stifle. Oh, we'll see if this pays out. Chrome Mox, LOL. We've been hoodwinked. Yeah, this is the flip side of creating content, is sometimes you get to trick people into thinking you have a thing, or you are a thing that you're not. Okay, I could force this, or I could interact with it with Bowmaster next turn, but if they don't attack with the actual Rabblemaster and just read the Bowmaster, then I'm in trouble there. Ponder versus hold up Bowmaster. I'm going to hold up Bowmaster. Den of the Bugbear. Goblin Matron. Okay, so we are goblins. Rabblemaster doesn't really give information. It's just any red stompy deck could and would play that card. One of the best things to do off Ancient Doom and a Chrome Mox in the format. But Goblin Matron gives away a little bit more to the story. And there is a Muxus amongst us. Bowmaster doesn't often get a straight up kill against goblins. A lot of their things are X2s or bigger. Pretty happy with this exchange, even though there's a Muxus coming. A Ponder and Brainstorm. I could Spellbomb first, because this really isn't going to do anything, and just getting the card to make decisions with sounds reasonable. I'm going to cash this in. But here we are immediately, even though this card was not good, we have discovered a spot where Veil of Summer would have been a stone blank, which is a different calculation than Nile Spellbomb being like kind of embarrassing than drawing a card. So already, proof of concept, just good deck building. I brainstormed into 2 lands while I was talking about other stuff, put those back, found a Force of Will. This Witherbloom command, if I can take out one of the Chrome Moxes, and if it hits a Wasteland, like, there's a lot to like here. I also like that they're going to 1 card in hand to cast Muxus right now. Force pitching Ponder. Interesting to pitch the Namesticker Goblin to a Chrome Mox rather than cast it. It makes as much or more mana if you cast it, and you get the 2/2. Oh, I spiked the nuts. Okay. I'm going to try to cut them off red here, take out Den of the Bugbear, and then Witherbloom command, killing a Chrome Mox, and getting back my Wasteland. Mill myself, get back Wasteland. This might not be enough, depends on what that last card in hand is, but they have tapped Ancient Tomb a bunch of times here. Alright, that's a pretty good follow-up, all things considered. They could throw the Chrome Mox, but then they have no mana. Yeah, they might just be on hold it mode, yeah. Leaving back the Broadside Bombardiers makes sense to me. Fatal Push, Rut-Row. I'm going to Wasteland the City of Traders. I want them to take damage if they're going to make mana, which also happens to turn on Revolt. And attack for 2. I am Hellbent, and they have a lot of big hits in their deck for the mana that they do have. 6 life is not 0 life. Second Ancient Tomb. Oh, baby. Let's go. All right. Well, destroy target non-creature thing. I'm going to mill them this time. Black-green. Witherbloom Command's so freaking good. Yeah. I mean, I ran kind of good there a few times, but also that's what I'm talking about, where you don't really need cards like Force of Despair to beat goblins. You can do it fair and square. But because I have this stacked sideboard, I'm going to use it. A Force of Despair, 3 Hydroblast effects, Pernicious Deed, Dismember. I like all those. That's enough answers to Blood Moon that I don't want Force of Vigor or some kind of stinker like that in. 8 cuts here. Force of Negation's out. Daze is out. Nile Spellbomb, obviously out. I do like Thoughtseize. Beanstalk can be a little slow for this matchup. You don't need all 4 of them in. Spell Pierce, basically non-functional here, unless I'm willing to go after a Chrome Mox, which I'm mostly not. Ponder can be a little slow for this matchup as well. I want all my Force of Wills. I want all my Wastelands. I want all my removal. I want all my threats. Okay, another Ponder is the cut here. And bring in this pile of interaction for the matchup. Let's go. I won't be tricked into keeping a Nile Spellbomb hand again. Okay, this hand is risky. It does have to play from behind because there's no force. It does have a ton of... If they play Chalice of the Void, I'm probably dead. If they play Blood Moon, I'm probably dead. If I get 1 turn to function, I'm probably okay. Uh-oh, 2 mana cards. Shit. Okay, gotta find a land now. Ponder, I boarded some of those out. I mean, this would be an insane spot for Force of Vigor, a card that I specifically said I'm not bringing in. Rabblemaster, well, we're probably losing to that. I mean, I could draw a land here and Edict non-token, and then we're kind of... We just got to stabilize versus a 1-1. Land, please? Kinda. All right. Fetch. This is unfortunately going to be too slow to matter. I can't play around Blood Moon here, so I'm just not gonna. An opponent can read from that play that I just drew the Lorien, and I don't have a spell to cast. And because all of their spells so far have resolved, they could also read that I don't have anything. All right. This game brought to you by Chalice of the Void, which we acknowledged was a possibility. And they're flinging goblin tokens at me for extra damage. Wasteland, way too slow. Okay, yep, dead. All right. I still don't think I want Force of Vigor. Now I'm on the play where, like, even that same game, if I had just been able to ponder before the Chalice comes down and get a look at land number 2 in a reasonable time frame, that game's fine. I have Witherbloom Command and Pernicious Deed in my deck that can answer a Resolve Chalice. Most of my cards don't cost 1. Yeah. I'm not going to overreact to a thing that happened. I keep this one. I'm going to play out the Polluted Delta just in case they lead on a turn 1 Moon effect. Chrome Mox. I could stifle this. I don't think that's where I want to be with my life. Like, if they have a second Chrome Mox, this is so bad. All right. I'm going to let this happen. But that pause probably told them I have Stifle. Name Sticker Goblin. Fetch and response. Do I play around Moon here? I don't think I do. Name Sticker resolves. I'm going to Stifle the trigger. And then I have Wasteland for the city. And I can Brainstorm in between. Or I could just hold up Hydroblast. That's probably way better. I'm just working my way to this Murktide Regent. They just go into combat with their 2-2. I like that. Oh, that was the whole plan, huh? Okay, Brainstorm. I am fine spewing off kind of a, air quotes, low-value Brainstorm here. Pernicious Deed's really good. Later. Okay. I don't have a Shuffle, so I can put those back just however. Play Basic Swamp. I'll probably Edict this Namesticker Goblin if they just go to combat again. Edict, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. And passing again. Sick. Now I could Pernicious Deed and take away all of their mana. Or I could play Murktide Regent. I'm going to go for Deed. This card's so sick. And the question is, do I pop it right now to Stone Rain them? Or do I try to get a turn out of this thing? I'm just going to Stone Rain them. Okay, that removes the possibility of Pyroblast for my Murktide Regent. Also, Cavern of Souls. Okay, found one of those. Haven't done anything else with 1 mana in a long time. I'd love a blue source here. No love for that. I'm just going to shove Murktide. Leave Wasteland in the graveyard in case I draw. Witherbloom Command. If they play Ancient Tomb right now, they might be back in this game. Gemstone Caverns, okay. That is a card that casts Chalice of the Void, if they have that thing. Which does actually turn off the best parts of my hand. Bummer. Alright, there's that. Witherbloom Command, best draw in my deck right now. Okay, drew a land. And I can just get my beats. 2 mana is a lot less than 3, which is a lot less than 4. They do need to keep running mana sources here. Oh, shit. Ancient Tomb. All right, yeah. Just running 3 mana sources in a row from nothing is a good way to turn this game around. Well, can't stop this shit. And they hit 4. That's lucky. Even 5 cast Muxus here. Rabblemaster. That's in. And Battlecry Goblin. Just the full spread. Okay, I will kill this thing. It's just damage I don't need to take with a card that's not getting much better. Come on, Witherbloom Command. Pernicious Deed, also pretty good. Witherbloom. Ugh. Okay, they have to kill me next turn, because they are dead on board. But they have a good chance to do that. But I do have 2 blockers now. Represent Hardcast, Force of Will with this land drop. Okay, here we are. Fingers crossed. They have no actual red mana for this Battlecry Goblin. Oh, now they have a lot of red mana. And they have to low roll the 4 again to not play Muxus. Yeah, 5 plus the 1 cast Muxus. Okay, that's not a Muxus. It does also not kill Murktide. Does it kill me? I can also make Murktide 1 point bigger here by casting a spell into the Chalice and then picking that spell up with Mystic Sanctuary. I have not done the math, because it doesn't matter. I'm just going to make the best blocks I can make, and hope I'm not dead. But I look pretty dead. Okay, block the 10, and block a 4. 1, 2, 6, 10, 14. Oh yeah, super fucking dead. Damn! Just 1 card short, Chalice of the Void, soloed me both games. Okay, I mean, I'm still not convinced that Force of Vigor is the answer to this. Like, I have other cards in my deck. There's only 4 of these. There was also a turn. There was a whole game here where they just did nothing for 3 turns and then runnered. Yeah, I mean, I think this goes my way. If we go back to that same spot where I activate the Pernicious Deed and then shuffle our decks and play on, I think I win this game most of the time. But also, you know, Goblins is very powerful and Chalice of the Void is a potent card. This Hydroblast wins the game. This Brainstorm probably wins the game. Yep, just perfect from nothing. But that's Magic. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. 3. I'm going to keep my hand. Opponent said they just sent me a deck for the channel, which I could consult my records and try to figure out who this is. But I have a lot of decks in the queue, so that's not actually helpful information. Other than that, my opponent is cool and has good taste in YouTube channels they support. Drawing that Stifle was really good. Ka-chow. Opponent on the Multi 6 with a Flooded Strand deck getting stifled. I've been in that spot enough times on the other side. Okay, suddenly we are on the play and up a card. Just flip the play draw on them. Boldly letting me untap without fetching first. Correctly identified that I have 1 Stifle in my deck and lots of Wastelands. Meticulous Archive. There's a 4-color Beans deck that was just sent to me. It might be this. Dumped a Tundra. The lands are not what they're looking for. Okay, we're against some sort of Tundra strategy. I'm just going to run out the Bowmaster. They're not going to Bowmaster me back, and Swords to Plowshares will get this thing anytime. Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay. This stops Bowmaster's ETB, but that's not the important part of this card. Oh, and Daze. Okay, so this is some sort of Dreadnought strategy. I don't really want to force a negation a Daze, but with this handful of black removal, I kind of want this Bowmaster to be in play, and force a negation might not get much better here. Cool. Murktide Rege. I could Ponder, try to hit the land. If I miss on the land, my shields are down to Dreadnought for the turn. I think I'm just going to pass. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Alright, Children's Edict. Is it going to work? Each opponent sacks a non-token. This is an insane blowout if I can get it, and I am way behind if I don't get it. Okay, they had Force with Brainstorm backup. Hope their last card in hand isn't a second Dreadnought, because I could still cut the one that's in play. Esper Sentinel. Oh, that card's good. Except it dies to Bowmaster, and it's not optional. Alright, I'm going to cut the Dreadnought. I can't pay for Esper Sentinel. Don't pay. I get a Bowmaster trigger, kill the Esper Sentinel. Luckily I drew Daze, because if their one draw here is Daze, that's the nuts. And they just said they see how bad Nettle Sentinel, or Esper Sentinel is in the metagame right now. Yeah, I mean, it lines up extremely poorly against Orcish Bowmaster in every conceivable way. Hey, they have 3 huge draws in their deck right now. And they got a Ponder into the Bowmaster. I like that. I'm just going to go face. Because if they play another Ponder this turn, then I could have killed the Doorkeeper Thrall, but they could also just not cast the other Ponder this turn. And Brainstorm kills it either way. Okay, Lorien Revealed versus Ponder. I'm going to Ponder. I like all of this. Second land, Wasteland. I will take this. I'm going to Wasteland their Tundra, then attack for 2. This makes my days better, and it makes their days worse because they have to pick up a tap land now, even though that land does have an ETB ability. Picking up and putting down a tap land is pretty rough in Legacy. Now I have the choice of cycling Lorien Revealed, which I think is actually an interesting one, because I know I'm about to draw the land anyway, but I also know my next 2 draws are both lands. And if I cycle Lorien, I get the land, and I could draw a spell here. Prismatic Ending on the little guy. Okay. Yeah, they're desperately playing around Daze if they're doing that instead of killing the Bowmaster. That is the thing that's afflicting them with damage, though. And I did decide to cycle the Lorien Revealed. Just trying to draw spells here is so good. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Murktide Regent. They have not indicated to me they have a Daze yet, and I'm not going to play around it now. Could still lose to a Dreadnought. Just going to hope that doesn't happen. Another land. This one does represent Mystic Sanctuary if I ever get a spell in the graveyard. They did not block, went to 7. Doorkeeper Thrall does fly. They have a turn of chumping over there if it comes to that. Okay, I don't think they can afford to go to 1, so I'm going to attack with Bowmaster and Murktide. If they've been sitting on a Swords to Plowshares this long, this is going to be actually a tough beat. Cool. Or we just get good combat fundamentals paying off. I'm not going to make any more land drops here. Now I don't care if they draw Dreadnought. I kind of hope they do. Okay, sweet. Beat a 12-12. Pernicious Deed, good against 12-12s. Force of Vigor, also good against 12-12 artifacts. I'm less excited about this, though. Dismember can hit the Doorkeeper Thrall, which is the enabler for Dreadnought, but if they just stifle it in, Dismember is pretty embarrassing. Force of Despair always gets Dreadnought. And if the game drags out like that one just did, we could see spots where I just have 3 mana up to cast that thing. Carpet of Flowers seems really good against this Daze deck, with all islands that I saw. Okay, Nile Spellbomb's out, Force Negation's out. Daze, Stifle, Spell Pierce all look good. I could just cut all my forces, treat it like a tempo deck. I have a million answers to a Dreadnought in this deck, and that's the only card I'm really worried about forcing. Oh, Deeds, but their deck's going to have Stifle in it, so I have to respect that if Deed is my main answer. But then I have Push, Edict, Cut. Yeah, I'm going to do it like this. I'll keep this hand. Lots of options here. And a Beanstalk, a card I've not had in play yet in this league. In 3 matches. Roll to 6 again. Island. Gonna try to get me with the Stifle. I've played around it perfectly by keeping a hand with raw mana sources in it. Daze, Lorien, Rebeans. I'll take the Daze now and get the Bean Train rolling next turn. Wasteland, okay. I'm set up against that too. Not a problem. Ponder. And they're brainstorming in response. I'm not going to Daze that. That's crazy. My own Wasteland, Murderous Cut, and Lorien Revealed. I think I want Cut last among these. And I'll take the Lorien Revealed now. My plan is to draw all these cards. It's largely irrelevant which one is in my hand first. Ooh, somebody's Brainstorm locked. Going up the Beanstalk. Force pitching Dress Down. Deal. Him to Turok resolves. And they remain Brainstorm locked. Because that's how that works. It takes 2 turns to get out. Wasteland and up the Beanstalk. Number 2. This feeling always sucks when you're on the other side of it, when you force of will a Beanstalk and then they just play another one. And then you're not even sure if that was correct or not. Because them having 2 Beanstalks is also a nightmare. Speaking of nightmares, opponent is not really playing this game right now. Do I feed them a Stifle? I think so. Go for it. Stifle me, boss. Nope, didn't happen. This is actually my last green source without the Bayou in the deck. That's slightly concerning. Up the Beanstalk on Murktide Regent. Let's go. Load me up. Found some more beans. I left Bowmaster mana up. I won't apologize for that, but I could have cast Beanstalk here if I tap differently. Okay, they've got a Wasteland. And they've got a Winter Orb. I'm going to respond with Bowmaster. And then I'm going to Daze the Winter Orb. Do I even Daze the Winter Orb? Is this orb awesome for me? Yeah, we can play a Winter Orb game. Let's go. I have more lands to play and a giant clock on board. This Winter Orb is probably lights out for them. This makes my days better also. And they just untapped Island and passed. I'll untap Trop. Continue hitting land drops. Never worried. Attack with my squad. I wonder if I can afford an up the Beanstalk here. I think I can. I have so much more mana than them. I'm not going to ponder though. That's probably too much. But they're dead on board, even if they do Dreadnought here. And this was just a rough beat on not finding the lands. Okay, Tundra. If they have Swords to Plowshares here, they can keep playing the game. Yep, alright, cool. Alright. We will continue gaming. I think they're still in a ton of trouble, but we're still playing. They do have an interesting decision to Wasteland my Wasteland. Okay, they're going for a Dreadnought. I'm going to Daze them to hell. Daze the Stifle, pick up the Trop. If they Force of Will here, they're down to 1 card in hand. We got a boo in the chat though, so I guess they don't have it. Okay, I'm going to untap Wasteland and draw for my turn. Play the Trop, attack for 2. I have a stop set in their upkeep. If they untap the Tundra, I'll waste it before they can use it for mana. So just having Wasteland untapped actually forces them to untap Island. Or not. That's fine. Or we can just play into it. Happy with that too. We got the GGs. Yeah, Winter Orb giveth and taketh away. My Eternal Weekend list of Sultai Beans had Winter Orb in it. Their deck's certainly leaner than mine, but also I'm a deck that can function pretty well on 1 and 2 mana. Yeah, they said without the Brainstorm lock, their starting hand had potential. I believe it. I mean, I've been Brainstorm locked plenty of times on this channel. Your hand looks so good when you have a plan and a Brainstorm, and then the Brainstorm doesn't convert, and you're just like, well, shit. Okay, we're on the board, though. Let's go. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. Second through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bazaar Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 Foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I am on the draw in round number 4. I'm going to keep my hand. It interacts and sees more cards. Mox Diamond. I basically never force Mox Diamonds, for the record. I've been in too many spots where they just play another one and they get to BTFO me. I do basically always force Sphere of Resistances, though. Actually, that's more of a play draw thing. I'm not even gonna say something that's not true here. Nile Spellbomb, though. Solid against lands and horrendous if it was Veil of Summer. So, once again, getting paid on this decision. Crucible of Worlds. Okay. I mean, that card's really good. Much better than Loam when you're facing down a Nile Spellbomb. And I'm going to cast Ponder. Witherbloom Command, Stifle. I like Witherbloom Command. I don't like Stifle. Lorien Reveal's pretty cool too. Thespian Stage played from hand, because there's a land in the graveyard, but it's not even a land you want to cast. You don't cast lands. It's not even a land you want to play. I don't want to lose on the spot to crop rotation here, so I'm going to hold off for a turn on my Witherbloom Command. Another Mox Diamond. Yeah, this is the nuts. I don't get priority to remove that Ancient Tomb, unfortunately. That's just not how the rules work. I'm going to cycle for Trop, and then draw for turn. I'm going to fetch for another Trop, just to make sure that my Witherbloom Command hits land here. Hey, mill me, kill your Mox. Green-black. Mystic Sanctuary. Yeah, I'll take Mystic Sanctuary over a fetch land here. And I'm not going to tap out of the Shoulder's Edict, ever. Next turn I could play Murktide and have the Edict up. Urza's Saga, really good. Yeah, I drew a land. Does Murktide, or does Mystic Sanctuary picking up Witherbloom Command actually help me here? I don't think so. Force, Ponder, Fatal Push. I could just go full size on the Merc. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to do it. There's no spells in my graveyard now, but I do have a different land to play. So I'm still gaming. Then I can loop this Brainstorm if I want to. Multiple Children's Edicts. Something's happening in the end step. They are copying their Urza Saga. Okay, the race is on. Fatal Push actually looking pretty good now. Oh, this Maze of Ith is a giant beating. I need a Wasteland. Brainstorm in the end step. None of these are Wasteland, not even close. Put back Mystic Sanctuary and Force of Will. And then I'm going to shuffle for the Mystic Sanctuary, get the Brainstorm. That makes Murktide bigger and gives me 3 fresh looks at Wasteland. Come on, Brainstorm, give me that waste. Hey, we're not dead yet. Put back Spell Pierce and Force of Will. Fetch, shuffle. I can't Wasteland now because I've made my land route. Those are the rules. Ponder, Murderous Cut, Force of Will, Orcish Bowmaster. These cards do not help. Shuffle. Another Ponder. Let's keep looking. Bowmaster, Brainstorm, Shuffle effect. The Brainstorm is not good. Or the Brainstorm is good, but the Bowmaster and Delta are not. Yeah, this Maze of Ith is such a piece of crap. Just literally just drew that card. Okay. Bowmaster, Brainstorm, Delta. I could draw through all of these if I'm willing to spend the Spell Bomb, which I don't really want to, but I might have to. Depending on how they stack their triggers in the upkeep, they might not have priority, or in the main phase, they might not have priority to play around Spell Bomb. Okay, I will keep this, and I'll see if they're paying attention. In for 9. Figured it out. That Maze of Ith does tap for green and white because of the Riftstone portal, which means that attacking is still correct. It's not just being time wasteful or petty. They get a 3/3, and they're copying Maze of Ith. All right, just really putting the screws in here. Hey, let's see how they stack these triggers. They appear to have stacked them correctly, unfortunately. You get a creature, and they tutor, and they're going to have priority when the stack clears to replay that saga from the graveyard without me being able to bomb it. I will bomb it if they do anything, but there's nothing I can do to force the action here and actually get through this. Yep, just played it straight from the graveyard. I hate when opponents know how to play. It's not fair to me. I need the unfair advantage of being better than everyone. And they currently have this Urza Saga that is also a Thespian Stage that can do everything. Island definitely goes back. Fatal Push is not useless here. Orcish Bowmaster is pretty close to useless. All right, goodbye, Bowmaster. It's also possible they might even let 9 damage through so I don't have a blocker. Okay. They disagree. That's not the line. More constructs. Or no, they're copying a forest now, which means they have a forest that makes constructs for the rest of the game. I can't wasteland that. Blast Zone. That can force the action on my Nile Spellbomb, should they decide that's the thing they want to do. Seems like I should probably just Spellbomb. Though if I draw a Wasteland, I could force at least one of these sagas out of play. But that's never happening. Attack with Murktide. Okay, time to Spellbomb. This did basically nothing. It did nothing because they had Crucible. If that was Loam, I would have gotten a good exchange at least somewhere. But instead, I'm just not doing anything here. They floated a bunch of green in response before their thing was gone. And they have so many creature tokens right now that I can't even Edict a Merit Lage. These are 8/8s. The tutor will make them 9/9s, and then the other construct will make them 10/10s. Might be able to get a block here with a flurry of removal. Shadow Spear. That is the thing I was most worried about, but the Fatal Push insulates against it. Yeah, you've got a 10/10. Please attack with everything. I need this. I need a good trade here. In with the squad. Cool. Okay. Block one of these. First, that was bad. Fatal Push, because now they could just sack the one that I'm blocking. God damn it, Brian. I got so excited about them playing weird. And then I lost because I played bad. I walked them into it and then just punted it. Yeah, I needed to Edict before blocks. Fudge. Okay, Pernicious Deed comes in. Nile Spellbomb. I still believe in it, even if it wasn't good there. Force of Vigor. Surgical Extraction. Golgari Charm. Destroy target enchantment. Urza Saga is an enchantment. I'll see if I have room for this. I don't love Force of Will in large numbers. Force of Negation is good because it hits Daze, or hits, I was looking at Daze and thinking about that. It hits Loam specifically. Thoughtseize doesn't really matter here. Fatal Push is not very good. It would have been good that game if I used it correctly, but it's not actually good. Okay, I have 7 cards I want to cut and only 6 I want to bring in. How do I reconcile that? Do I want to add something like Force of Despair? Probably not. Which means I want to leave a card in the deck. Fatal Push, Force of Will, Daze, Thoughtseize. It's not Thoughtseize. I guess I could keep a Force of Will. I am a Beanstalk deck after all. Though we did see me brainstorm and ponder my Force of Wills around and around that game, and they never had a target. I'll keep this hand. Yeah, Lance is one of the matchups with Sultai where if they wiggle through and get an engine online, you feel like you can never win. But also you have a ton of interaction and ways to mess with what they're doing, where sometimes it feels like they were never able to play the game. I think last game, if their Chalice was a Loam, it would have been better for me. Or Chalice, if their Crucible was a Loam, I would have been able to play that game. Okay, I'm letting Sphere resolve. Like I said, in game 1, play versus draw is usually my line on Sphere of Resistance. Saga. Another Sphere, okay. Can't really play through 2 of these. And now I have a blue card I'm happier to pitch. I'm going to stifle the Urza Saga trigger so it doesn't learn how to make constructs. Okay, this is just going to be a single mana land that dies eventually. If they have a Wasteland here, though, I might just not play the game. Boseiju. And Choke also ends the game. Cool. All right. I'm not going to keep playing this. Yeah, like I said, sometimes there's draws where they don't do anything, and sometimes there's draws where you could never win. Just turn 1 Sphere, turn 2 Sphere, turn 3 Choke with a Saga in between. No chance. On to the next round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop.
I'm on the draw in the final round. Been a tough league so far. I'm going to keep this. I said in the deck tech I chose this deck to get some dubs after a tough run with some weird decks over a long period of time. And instead, I'm like, fighting for a 2-3 record in the final round after getting obliterated by everyone. It happens. That's magic. Not mad. Okay, Ponder, Witherbloom Command, Murktide. I can cast Witherbloom Command. My opponent went Mountain Go. Mountain Go's weird. This is probably Painter setting up a big turn 2. Okay, I'm going to put Ponder, Witherbloom, Murktide. I could draw the Murktide, which gives me a blue card to pitch for Force, and I can Daze if I need to survive a big turn here. And then if I don't need to survive a big turn here, I can just play up the Beanstalk. I would strongly prefer not to Force until my Beanstalk's in play. I don't think I've triggered a Beanstalk with a spell in this league. Or no, that's not true. I cast a Murktide into 2 Beanstalks against one opponent. That was pretty dope. Okay, Name Sticker Goblin. I don't really want to Daze this, but I think it is necessary and correct. You don't get many shots for Daze. They might still have a Simian Spirit Guide and just pay for this, which they did. Now I have to decide if I want to fight over what comes out of the Name Sticker or this Name Sticker itself, and I'm going to fight over what comes out of it. They hit a 4. Broadside, boom badooms. I'm going to force that. The reason I let Name Sticker Goblin resolve there is because they went Mountain into Ancient Tomb, and their deck is full of powerful and redundant mana sources. If I counter the Bombardier, or the Name Sticker, then the Bombardiers is just still in their hand and they just cast it next turn. And I'd rather face a 2-2 than whatever was going to come out of their hand this turn. And they're also a Cavern of Souls deck. What if they draw that next turn and then Force does nothing? Okay, I'm getting roasted here by the median Goblin hand. This Nile Spellbomb looking bad again, but Veil of Summer would be worse. I think I have to leave up Bowmasters and try to get some stability of the board here, rather than do anything else that I'd rather do. Activating Battlecry Goblin. I can't stop them from having enough power and toughness, so that's just going to happen. And then Bowmasters is going to absorb 5 of this damage and trade off with 2 of their creatures. They kill the token. Double block the Battlecry. I take 4 down to 8. Not great stats here. And then I get a fresh draw. Force of Negation. Among the worst cards in this matchup that there ever was. I think I want a Witherbloom command to kill the Goblin token and target myself and just hope one of my top 3 cards is a land I can play. Target player mills 3, -3, -1. Target me, target your Gobbo. Come on, deck. The full width. Let's go. Just 15 cards into my deck with 2 lands. All good. Perfectly normal. That's probably the best Force of Negation was going to be. But at this point, I think I need Ponder to play the game. And if they muxes me this turn, it is what it is. Hell yeah. Cool. I don't even want to see what comes out of that. I don't care. I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Okay. Pernicious Deed. I'll think about Force of Vigor this time. I still think it's not right, but so there's two camps here in sideboarding / deck building when it comes to the Force of Vigor. It's I have done enough and I don't want a potentially dead card in my hand in this high impact matchup, versus I'm going to bring in every single thing that could be a little bit useful to potentially solve any situation. And I tend to be on the I've done enough and let's min-max this, versus I know like on ZD, MTG tends to bring in anything that could solve any corner case. Like he brings in all his Terminuses versus Storm just in case they go for like Goblins or Ave Progenitor Ooze or something, while I cut all my Sweepers versus Storm because they usually don't play creatures. That's just like a thing that's out there. Fun theory conversation. Okay, so here's the sideboard plan I did last time against Goblins. It's 8 cards. The cards I'm bringing in are largely hammers. Now, do I actually believe that any of the cards that are still in my main deck are worse than Force of Vigor overall? I still don't really think that's true. I'm not going to play 61, which I do sometimes, I'm not going to lie. If I just can't figure out my last cut, I'll submit 61. Especially in matchups like Death and Taxes, where it might come down to decking at some amount of time. Like you get some fridge, or like if the matchup's going to be slow and you can overpower, like slightly less likely to draw your good cards given time. but this is not a slow matchup. And I'm on the play where I like Thoughtseize. Yeah, I'm just going to hit submit. Force of Vigor can eat it. This hand needs some help, but I am going to keep it. Brainstorm is the type of help I'm looking for. I can dismember a Magus of the Moon or a turn 1 Namesticker Goblin. The Wasteland is a card that I really like for the matchup. Ancient Tomb. Alright, so they do have a Chalice of the Void start. Unless they pitch a Spirit Guide for something else here. Okay. Every one of my opponents putting me to the test here in every possible way. I'm going to put back Brainstorm and Wasteland. I can't cast that Brainstorm anyway. Well, I can cast it. It just doesn't do anything. It does feel Murktide. And I do think Wastelanding them is the way to move this game forward best for me. So I guess I'm redrawing the Brainstorm anyway, and it doesn't matter what I did. Okay, they've got a basic Mountain. I can't fetch my basic Swamp here. Cavern of Souls. Exile a Spirit Guide to play Namesticker. I am just going to dismember this. And I'm going to fetch Tropical Island and save a 2 life to do it. Or, hold on. I could lose 4 life, play a bigger Murktide, just fire the Brainstorm into the Chalice. I can cast Murktide next turn anyway. I will conserve my life total. Okay, go after the Goblin. Okay, if I fetch... Or I can Ponder. I can fetch Ponder. Leave Wasteland in there. Okay, I am Underground. I know. Bigger Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, leaving Wasteland in the graveyard in case I draw Witherbloom Command. And now I have them under pressure. This is the same spot that I ended up losing in the previous Goblins matchup. They have Chalice, they have no mana, or low mana, low cards in hand versus a Murktide. But I have nothing really going on, other than the Murktide. They basically have 3 turns to Goldfish from here. However, my deck is full of bangers like Witherbloom Command and Pernicious Deed that can flip that quickly. Second main Rabblemaster. Okay. Rather than let me block a Goblin token, they just didn't even make one. There are 2 wolves inside you. Okay, in for 6. The Bowmaster can stabilize against this Rabblemaster. Let's see if they attack with the actual one. They are attacking with the actual one. Bowmaster. Completely stabilize this board. Okay, cool. They've had enough. Nice. All right, we got over the finish line. In Golgari Charm, and I'm already struggling to find room for Force of Vigor. Golgari Charm does wipe out any number of Goblin tokens, but so does Pernicious Deed. Thoughtseize is worse on the draw. I'm going to move Thoughtseize for Force of Vigor on the draw. I will make that adjustment. Okay, this hand is slow, but really good for the matchup. I'm going to keep. And hope they don't have a completely fudged up turn 1. Mountain. Okay, they didn't fudge up turn 1. Blue Blast gives me a lot of room to breathe here. Ancient Tomb. Namesticker Goblin. I could Stifle this. Stifle doesn't get much better. But then they have the 2-2 in play. Yeah, I think I should Stifle this and just deal with a 2-2 rather than use my Hydroblast this early. I can afford to Ponder. Bowmaster Witherbloom. I do like the Bowmaster. I said I have to stabilize against the 2-2, and that's still true. A Chalice of the Void. I can Blue Blast the Namesticker Goblin now, or I could take 4 from it and sweep it up in a deed 2 turns from now. I think I'd rather just take the pressure off now, because I also have Witherbloom Command. Maybe I was supposed to Witherbloom Command, actually, and leave the... Okay, I mean, that's really good and annoying. Okay, well, they wiggled that one through me. Force of Vigor, save me. Well, I'm in trouble. I can't cast any of the spells in my hand, which are all really good, if they were castable. Goblin Matron, come on! Immediately a follow-up threat. Is probably tutors for Bombardiers. Namesticker, that's even scarier. Force of Vigor. Okay, I'm glad Force of Vigor's in my deck at this point. They've got 1 card left in their hand. If they hit 5 or 6, they can play Muxus here. Battlecry Goblin. Yeah, that's bad too. And me without a Force of Despair, or Force of Vigor, or Force of Will. Okay, I don't know what my outs are, but it's certainly not Underground Sea. Rough league. Got my ass kicked left and right. Okay, a horrendous record with Sultai Beans, a deck that I chose to try to just get like a nice little bread and butter 4-1, cleanse my palate of all these tough decks I've been playing lately. And had a tough league. Got smushed by goblins twice after saying I rarely lose to goblins with this deck. And we could see how that could go wrong. Having a sideboard plan is important. I did bring in 8 cards, and maybe it was supposed to be 9. But also, like, yeah, we already had this conversation if you watch the whole video. If you skip to the deck tech, I'm not going to fill you in. Go watch the video. But bringing in Force of Vigor as your 9th card to solve specific situations that the Goblins deck has no agency to create. It's just kind of, this is my opening hand. These are the spells I can cast. 40% of the time, Chalice is going to be there, and 60% of the time it's not. And your deck has all of its Force of Will's Witherbloom commands in anyway, plus the ability to play the game on 2+ mana with Murderous Cuts, Murktide, Regents, Beanstalks, Bowmasters, etc. It's a card that they are a weighted coin flip against having, and then they have to have 2 mana to play it on turn 1. And then they also have to fade your plentiful answers for the card, and then they also have to apply pressure after playing that card. And in the second matchup, they had a multiple Spirit Guide start that also powered out a Secret Blood Moon after I let the Chalice resolve, which I had no answer for anyway. There was no sequencing that works that for me. It's not like I Force of Willed the Chalice, then got Blood Mooned. It was, they played a thing that turns off Hydroblast, then they played the most important thing in their deck to Hydroblast, and I did have Hydroblast and Basic Island. That's why it's tough to draw conclusions from a 5-match set. Like, I got my ass kicked, and you could point to a lot of specific spots where it's like, this was bad. You should have done this. But also, what are the percentages that those spots actually come up? And if your opponent's going to play well around your interaction that you have. Like, my opponents this league also had spots like that lands matchup. Literally never gave me a chance to activate Nile Spellbomb for any value. And they could have, like, stacked their triggers wrong or something, and they just didn't. They could have made different decisions with their Thespian stage and maybe lost to a Wasteland, but they didn't. They just played well. My Goblin's opponent could have just jammed Blood Moon and skipped on the Chalice, but they didn't. That's why it's important to play a lot of matches with this deck, which I have done. And maybe this deck has fallen off. Maybe the meta is tougher now, but still, you're a deck with a ton of options and decisions to make. And you're never completely dead until you're actually, like, dead. I still like this deck in theory. If I had a serious tournament coming up, I don't know if I could trust it just on these 5 recent matches that I played, because I really haven't touched the deck since the last time you saw it on the channel. Look into that 4th color, see what people are doing. I know the build that won the Mox was main decking some Endurances to counter Rescaminator. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that can be done here. And although this deck has a ton of tools, they do have to line up correctly. And that didn't happen this time around. Anonymous supporter, thank you for giving me the opportunity to play this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.